All right, everybody, we are here at the Tulsa Regional. This is the final Joust match between myself and Jake, who is an excellent player from Springfield. And this is the final Joust, like I said. It is, both of us are 3-0 going into this, and we are both running Greyjoy. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can. And just because the boards look nearly identical, Jake is on the left with the One Ring card sleeves, and Steven is over on the right with his very nice matching blue sleeves.
It's a nice classic blue. I like
but I mean, yeah, it's a great blue, but it's mighty confusing looking at this because you both have your Kraken House card. You're both running the, what was that, Crown of Winter?
Yeah, the Kings of Winter.
Kings of Winter, excuse me.
Yeah. And the weird thing is in these...
Cut my deck.
Obviously, we're both running Greyjoy, we're both running Winter, so, you know, we both know we're running Choke style deck. The interesting thing is that we'll get these deck lists up. I've already posted them elsewhere, but it's a very different take on the Choke theme. And so the decks, although essentially doing the same thing, are doing it in very different ways. And so that will be interesting to see. So I go ahead and flop out 4, and I believe Jake has 5 with some good locations. I've got Wex, Ice Fisherman, Theon Greyjoy. I love him. The pay 1 gold Neil location, and then a Street of Steel. And Jake comes out also with an Ice Fisherman and the Spar, which is not good news for me. And then Gatehouse, he's got a Reducer, I believe, over there, one of the Streets, and an Iron Mine. So altogether, I think he probably did better on the drop, but I do have a character advantage going into this.
And what were you thinking about your first plot?
Well, it's very interesting playing a double Winter kind of thing. I knew that I wanted to go first. I don't think I had any real good choke stuff in my hand, but against a choke deck, I want to go first so that they can't get the choke on me.
Right.
Jake goes Fear of Winter, 4 initiative. I go ahead and with take them by surprise, the 11, the risky 11, but that puts me at 5 gold, -1, so 4 gold for the Spar. And Jake's not going to have a chance to destroy my stuff or, put burned and pillaged on or anything like that. I do have the opportunity to put it on him, and that's really why I wanted to take initiative there. However, as you know, Fear of Winter, 1 card.
That's right.
Let's talk about Fear of Winter a little bit. What's the story with that? That's a good card.
It's a really good card. So good that I frequently say it should be restricted. Oh, wait, it is.
It's on the edge. It's one of those that we're starting to see a lot of. I don't know if the game has come around to it or if it's come around to the game. I know that Greyjoy Choke has had a big influence on that. It just fits so well into that theme. But really just, 2 Claimer, 2 gold, 4 initiatives, pretty good. And then...
You're only playing 1 card.
Yeah. It's kind of a coup. It can be such a coup de grace plot because the second you get ahead, you can drop that and you have a free turn of being ahead and not having to worry about anything.
I used to run it pretty commonly, but I figured out that I was running it as a sort of win more plot. Like I would get ahead and then I'd drop it to keep my opponent from doing much to try to get back ahead. Anyway, if you're running it properly, it is definitely one of the best plots in the game.
Right. Now, I did win initiative, but I chose to go second. There was a lot of things going through my head. I hadn't played a mirror match before. That was probably a mistake. All right. He newly made Lord to drop my Street of Steel, which kind of ruined my first turn plays that I was planning. But I wanted to go second because I wanted to see what he was going to do. I knew he only had 1 card to play, and I wanted to react as opposed to play my card out. So that was kind of an interesting decision. Given Fear of Winter, the choke effects aren't really going to come into play. You're usually not going to waste your 1 card on 1 Burned and Pillaged or on a White Raven or whatever. So he goes ahead for the newly made Lord. It's a great swing. He gets a 3 strength power guy out there, and he gets to take care of one of my reducers, which is going to come back pretty strong. So I go for a big Asha Greyjoy, and already I am very vulnerable. I know already to the Valor, and I'll be watching for that immediately. And I'm a big fan of 2 ofs. This is kind of.
And you run Valor in your own choke, do you not?
I do. Yes. Okay. So he has a 3 strength power challenge. I really don't have any reason to oppose that. That's just going to be power that I can take on my turn, so that's fine.
Okay.
And then he passes it over, and I like this play. This is one of my favorite things to do with Theon. I pay 1 gold, and Neil has Iron Mines. It is a kneel and discard to save a character. So now definitely going to be a character that goes from a military challenge, which is what I wanted to ensure. If only I had to claim.
That's too bad, man. Do you regret your plot choice going into this turn?
No. I enjoy the first plot. I like taking them by surprise a lot. I especially like because I have Ahead of the Tide in the deck. So Asha goes through unopposed. She gets 1 for a now and 1 for unopposed, and that Ice Fisherman is gone, which is nice to see. And I'm gonna see if I can keep the onslaught going on. Spar is interesting because he does have a crest, so he can block Wex. I just wanted to get him down so that I could be sure to win dominance and still have an easy power swing and not worry too much about it. And I get 1 unopposed, and I grab that power from his house from that power challenge. And then we can't actually cancel out for dominance because of his 1 gold over there and my 1 strength Ice Fisherman standing up. So that was a pretty good exchange. And at this point, I am expecting a Valor. Because he has Iron Mines, he can pop to save the Spar.
Right.
And then I'm
You're
losing
just
all
hosed.
my characters.
Yeah.
So I have 2 options here. I can run Search and Detain, which is going to put one of those characters back in my hand before it dies to save them for later. Or I can drop At the Gates, pump my Meister out, put him into play, and then kneel him to save something on the board. You'll see what I do here, and Jake, I believe, is going to drop the Valley here. I can't remember the game perfectly, but it just seems like such a good time to do it.
Yeah.
He's also got a huge resource advantage, plus 1 gold, and a reducer to my 0.
Valor.
Yep.
Search and Detain.
He Valors, and I chose Search and Detain. I wanted the higher gold, and I wanted the higher initiative, although it didn't ultimately matter because of the Valor. I think At the Gates would have been a better play here. I could have put the Meister out, knelt to save Asha, and then killed everything else. And I think that would have been a stronger play. I like Asha versus the Spar. I think that's a better matchup. But still, you got to think, I'm now at 2 gold with the Spar still being out, and he's got essentially plus 2 gold on me because of those reducers. So it gets really interesting. I probably would, in retrospect, have played At the Gates here.
Interesting. Just so she can stay out.
Got to stay out and keep the board
power.
presence because against Choke especially, like once you get something on the board, you want to keep it there because you're not going to have a lot of gold for the rest of the game to get that kind of stuff back out. Already, if I were to play At the Gates, I would be at 2 gold and would not even be able to play Asha again.
Right.
So I put her back in my hand, lost the power, and then Iron Mines goes for the Spar.
That's too bad.
It is too bad.
What about Theon? Could you have knelt the Iron Mines before he had used it?
Could have, but you don't have any gold.
Ah.
So if there was some cool effect, that would have been nice. Even a river blockade would have been a good play. I see some Iron Mines of my own. 1 turn too late, as always. I dropped some gold locations. I was ready for the Valor, so I had a lot of zeros to play out. I had the Island Refugee that I've been holding on to. And then the real question here is whether or not to play Asha back out. And what does that ultimately get me? I know I've got 0 claim coming in, so I can be a little bit frivolous in my challenges.
Yeah. And how much gold are you sitting on? 3?
Sitting on 3 gold, yeah. With a gatehouse lurking. And go ahead and put Asha back out. I think she was the best play for, basically matching the Spar and outdoing those icons. And Jake throws a river blockade, and I believe another reducer. I can't quite see it on the screen, but as I remember, it is. It's what is this? The one I think kneel and then a -2, but it comes in knelt. I forget which one that is.
Flea Bottom, is that what that is? Or?
Flea Bottom, yeah, that's what it was. So great with Newly Made Lord, which Jake just happened to draw in 2 of, which is pretty nasty.
Yep, that'll slow you down.
And then I think I read that he has 1 or 2 copies of Spar in his deck, so I was like, drat. He got it early. So then he knelt to reduce, and I played a Seasick to cancel that reduction because I'm trying to keep him off the board right now, and I know that can really slow some things down when you're allotting your gold. Most good characters are 3 cost, and to cancel that reduction gets him at essentially 2 cost. Kingsman Hopeful for the limited for the turn, which is an outstanding card, and then he drops a refugee as well. So he was able to, as you can see, this is looking very grim. Valor to essentially clear me, and then comes out with River Blockade to cancel any reduction or Iron Mine saving I would do. Has another flea bottom, so more reduction, more gold efficiency for him, and then he actually gets a bunch more characters out. So he's grabbing the board, he's grabbing the resource advantage, and at this point, I'm fairly concerned.
You're behind the power curve,
definitely behind the power curve.
Even though you have more power.
That's right. And this event, this day of event was just a good time. I really liked how my choke deck operated. I know Jake really enjoys his choke deck, and it's kind of interesting. It's like it seems like Greyjoy really is, coming into their own now. This is kind of they're quite feared now at tournaments, which kind of started happening as I was getting into the game. And now it looks like with the Spar and a lot of those new characters in the Tale of Champions cycles, this house has really hit its stride.
The Spar is just ridiculous.
He's ridiculous, and Byrne loves to see him, I'll tell you that.
That's true. That one strength is just
one fear
sometimes.
or one threat from the north.
Yep. See you.
See a Spar, can't be saved.
But you can always risen from the sea.
You can always risen from the sea, that's right. Which is why I have 2 copies in this deck you're looking at.
Well, there you go.
It was for Spar alone. Alright, so I swung in there for a military challenge on the Island Refugee. And it died. Which is really, I think I could have done this a lot better in retrospect. Probably should have attacked with Asha military. There was really nothing. I mean, it could have been blocked, and then you're dealing with how do you win dominance to keep your refugee on the board. Jake essentially sacked his for nothing.
Right.
So now, if I don't keep mine, then he has won that exchange for sure, which he absolutely will, I have no doubt. Because, you know what, I remember this game.
I was there.
Believe it or not, I was there.
I was one of the 2 people playing it. Allegedly.
Yeah, Greyjoy has really, really...
They're certainly way better than Lannister. Lannister is not that good.
Get out of here. In fact, though, Lannister was not even represented at our regional.
I mean, I gave Tim my Lannister deck, my Power Behind the Throne deck to play because his Stark decks are just bad, but he did not represent well, just primarily due to a lack of experience with him.
Yeah. All right, so Intrigue Challenge here. Have nothing to lose because there's no claim coming back at me. And again, 2 characters. Probably better way to do this. But at least I'll try to get some renown out of the deal.
Yep.
And if only I had a gold or so for dominance. Bummer.
It's a bummer, man.
So I was looking, you just look at the board, 7 cards to 2 now, and it's not really going to get any better.
No.
So now at this point, I've got Iron Mines and Asha out, but the River Blockade is going to cancel that effect. So I want to drop Valor, but at the same time, I'm in a bit of a predicament. I do have to kill the Spar at some point. It just has to happen to get me out of that lock. But you drop Valor, you're sitting on 2 gold, and certainly Jake's got a good plot coming up. So he's really swinging into the advantage here.
Yeah.
A very strong advantage. And this is an interesting argument for and against Valor because I go and get the Raven because I really at this point I think I'm just looking for a carrion bird just to get something out there.
He played Blockade.
And he plays Blockade, which means I'm going to play nothing this turn. 0 gold. All my reducers did not see a one of them. Saw the one and Jake destroyed it, and that was no good.
Extreme close up.
Extreme close up. Now the thing that I think happened. I did drop a gatehouse at one point, and I think he used Newly Made Lord to kill that gatehouse, which technically shouldn't have happened because it's a non-limited location.
Oh, noes.
And I wasn't paying attention, and I think we were just kind of, you know how it goes with cards. Sometimes you just roll on. So that would have helped.
It would, especially right now.
It would certainly have helped, yeah.
Though you would still be at 0 gold, right?
I would still be at 0 gold. I don't know if it applies. I need to double check that rule with Blockade. I've never been a fan of the card because to me,
just because it's winter, right?
No, it's not winter right
now. The Spar is still out. Excuse me.
Yeah, Spar is -1, sure. And I'm Jake is debating. He puts Farwind out with a dupe, nasty, so I can no longer reduce on nobles. I don't care too much about that because most of my stuff is nobles. Puts out another Kingsmoot Hopeful, and you saw in his hand there are Wintertime Marauders there, but it's not winter, so it doesn't matter. I'm sure he's wanting me to search out a White Raven, which I didn't. I grabbed the Carrion Bird. But yeah, at this point it's like, what?
This is not good.
Not good. It's kind of, this is the thing with Game of Thrones and just with card games in general. You can, it's just so obvious when things are happening, you know, when you're starting to lose, when the tempo is not going your way. Go ahead and pose and kill Asha because I have no choice. But Jake has done a very good job of swinging the tide, just very meticulously working advantages in there. Had a good hand, good characters. All the traducers that he's seen has been huge.
Yep.
And the lack of my reducers has been hurting me this game. Fishing Net gets discarded, one of my favorite cards out of Greyjoy.
That's a great one.
And at this point, the power is starting to flow the other direction. And as I said, the case for Valor is a interesting case to make because it worked for Jake.
That's right.
But it's not going to work for me.
Nope.
So it's certainly not an I win button or a. You never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you play against it, play around it. You know, there's just a lot to be said about that card. Because right now, it's not going to get me back into this game.
Which is unfortunate.
It is, but let's see what happens. But here comes the Valor.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my goodness.
Good old fart wind.
Kill all the characters. Why wouldn't you when you have no characters out? Of course. So at least there you go. And kill that dupe. And I seasick the dupe save. See if we can get Farwind out. Can we do it?
Is going to cancel?
And he will finger dance the seasick. Can you believe it?
That would have been fun.
I know. I would have had a full board clear, and it would have been great. Seasick was going to come in for the MVP play, and yet, finger dance.
Old Fartwind.
Finger dance cancels. It's cancels. It's the oldest trick in the book.
It's all Greyjoy does, really.
Oh,
They're a
man.
one-trick pony.
Canceling is where it's at. There's nothing better than canceling in my mind.
Oh, no, kneeling's pretty fun.
Well, kneeling is like canceling, except proactive. So I think Jake has 2 cards in hand. So it's not too bad. It's not as bad as it could be. I've got quite a hand here because I haven't been able to play anything. But he ruled by decreed me, so now I'm down to 4, which is a good plot to include for him.
Yep.
Very good, especially when you're thinking about blockade and all these things where you're not able to get anything out. Your hand is growing naturally. And, of course, against anything that draws cards. It's just a good plot. Can't be canceled. Safe. 4 gold. I like that plot a lot. So now we're looking at Iron Mines versus a lot of locations and a knelt down Farwind.
Fartwind.
And I've only got two gold. And the nasty thing is here, it's going to be awfully hard to get anything out there, especially with 0 claim.
And you can't reduce.
And another Kingsmoot Hopeful. How many do you have, Jake? How many hopefuls at 3? That's 3, by the way.
Well, it is the Kingsmoot. They come out of the woodwork, man. They're just...
And, of course,
out of nowhere.
Wintertime Marauders.
Burned and pillaged. And was that your Iron Mines that he put that on?
Yep. Which you'll see I will take care of that very quickly. Post haste.
Yep. I am going to save something. That's what you were thinking.
Yeah, there's a few... just watching back the game, there's some interesting things like using the Street of Steel, I believe, to reduce Wintertime Marauders even when Farwind was out.
Yeah.
So I should have... Like, there's a lot of stuff you have to pay attention to in Game of Thrones, and being our first real experience in the competitive environment, it's natural that there's a lot of mistakes going on.
Or maybe he just thought that he could get away with it.
Yeah. Long story short,
I'm just kidding.
I played that Carrion Bird only so I could pop the Burned and Pillaged off of my Iron Mines.
You got to get that out of there.
Because I needed something to save, so I kneel and discard it to save the thing, and he cancels it from River Blockade, but it still gets discarded because it's a cost. At least I think that's how Game of Thrones works. That's how we played it. It's kind of one of those... It has that weird intricacy of, like, if you can't fulfill X, then you can't initiate X.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with that in a card game before, but I believe still if you pay the cost, it does get discarded.
Yeah.
And then another power swing, so it's looking pretty rough for the Kraken on the right.
You still have 1 left.
And yeah, that's a moral victory. It's a moral power victory. So
I'm hanging on.
At this point, you know, we can look at this board, and it's obvious to me that I have 0 things on the board.
Oh no, he just did, what is that, Rise of the Kraken?
Rise of the Kraken, yeah. I have nothing on the board. He has 8 things on the board. That's some pretty basic math. And then he drops another 2 claimer with an 8 initiative. Doesn't need the gold because he has such an advantage right now. And it's interesting because I dropped Rise of the Kraken from my list because it seemed like it was always win more for me.
Yeah.
It was whenever I can afford to have almost 0 gold for a turn to get more power, I'm generally winning anyway.
Yeah,
So
I could see that.
this is, in Jake's instance, I mean, he's got this game on
that
lockdown,
Windermere?
and this is going to speed it up. But it does give your opponent less of a chance to get back in the game with various cards, certain plays, and whatnot. Choke is generally a bit of a slower deck. No, this is not Windermere. This is Mirror.
Mirror, sorry.
He has the cancel in effect during the marshalling phase. He's more of a fighter out of my Meisters. Although it probably would have been better to get Windermere out there because he could save himself from the inevitable military challenge that is coming in. Flea Bottom comes out. Finally see another location, which is nice.
Yeah, you needed it.
And unfortunately, whatever gets knelt is going to come in, or whatever gets reduced is going to come into play knelt. And there's a big old fatty 2 claim coming. So again, another mistake I think on my part. Windermere probably was the better choice here.
Yeah. Oh well. Live and learn, man. Get
Live and
loves.
learn. That's all you can do. And hopefully everyone watching this will have a chance to learn as well. Oh, that's why I didn't do it, because he was in my hand. It was all a clever build-up.
It was a ploy.
Try to play Wex, and then I realized,
Oh,
wait,
he's dead.
wait, he's dead. That's right, you killed him.
BT dubs.
Here I was thinking that he just got discarded from my hand. Saw him over there with the rule by
Boatswain.
And, oh, a bloody keep. Just insult to injury. More reduction. How is this ever going to be stopped?
Reduction is awesome in a choke.
Reduction is sweet.
Ah,
And interesting thing about Jake's deck, he doesn't run any Sunset Seas.
really?
Nope. He runs straight up all perma-reducing things.
Fascinating.
So Windermere chose both of those characters to die, and then he saved Mirror just so we can maybe get some, I don't know, power?
A block or something.
Intrigue? Respect?
Respect.
Alright, we'll block...
That does not spell Greyjoy.
block that, so there's no unopposed, which I didn't want because Rise of the Kraken is going to give him an extra for unopposed.
That's right.
But he will, of course, get it on the Intrigue Challenge. And then he's got a Lusty 4 with that awesome Boatswain, which I love.
Wait. Did he only take one?
He did only take one.
Well,
I wasn't going to remind him.
well, sure. There are mistakes going on all over the place, but it's easy to spot them, I guess, when you're
It's the last
removed.
game of the day, man. Everyone is just like, done. In Game of Thrones, I mean, there's a lot going on.
I'm just so tired.
A lot to keep track of.
That's right. What is that, dry season?
And I think Jake pretty much knew that he had the game on lockdown, so he probably wasn't paying the strictest of attention. This is first stone winner, so everything 2 cost or lower goes back into the hand at the first of the challenge. So at least get the Boatswain out, get the Hopeful out, and Mirror will come back to my hand, which is not great.
But it's something.
Yeah, and Jake plays out Asha, and I believe that's a carrion bird over there, which is just going to go right back into his hand. So, haha, Jake, gotcha. And now here I am deliberating, got the 3 gold to mess with. Dry Season says that all of my non-uniques are blinked. That doesn't matter because Flea Bottom is unique. And that's the Wex try yet again.
Man, how many times are you doing that? That is awesome. Oh, right, by the way.
Oh, right.
Maybe
yeah.
you're just
Yeah,
trying to
just,
take advantage of old Jake there.
We're just trolling.
Uh-huh. I'll throw that burned and pillage at you then.
Yeah, and again, like, look, at this point...
It don't matter none.
Yeah, see, at this point, like, technically I could have used the Flea Bottom, but I think I had nothing in my hand that I actually could reduce. It's just like...
He's like, you're dead.
Put everything back in your hand, first challenge.
Good game, man.
But, yeah, it's fine. So there you have it. That's essentially the choke-off. You know, it's it was a great game. Jake was...
You had a great first turn.
Jake was, as he was talking about after the game, was nerding out over my plots, and I was very interested in what he was running as well. So, so you see us here. We're able to talk about a few of the things that we were doing, especially differently. Jake's been playing Choke for a long time, so I'm showing him my plots here, and we're kind of collaborating on what to do. And this is the beautiful thing about the Game of Thrones community, right? You go to a high level
event.
Yeah, high-level Magic event, for instance, and heaven forbid.
These are proprietary
Yeah,
secrets.
you're not going to be sharing
I'm not
anything.
sharing.
We're not going to be talking. We're not going to be laughing and talking about how I just got smoked that game or how this should have been different or that should have been different. But Jake's a great player, comes from a great group in Springfield, and
let me tell you, he was no slouch at the Oriental Buffet either.
Yes.
He put at least 3 plates away.
Well,
I was impressed.
I mean, what more could you ask for in a community of gamers?
Nothing.
Good
nothing.
Eaters, good players, and this is essentially the grand finale of the tournament, and this put Jake into, I believe, third place, or third or fourth is what he inevitably ended up in. Greg Atkinson won the whole thing with his melee performance and going 3-1 in the Joust. I think he ended up at 6th, and then Philip Rowland, our very own, took 2nd.
That's right.
And who was in 3rd? Was that Larry?
It was Larry.
Larry.
Well, actually, I think Larry was 4th.
Okay, Larry was 4th, Jake was 3rd. But they were kind of tied.
That might be reversed, but I'm not quite certain.
So there were some good melees, some good jousts, and
there were some good buffets.
There were some good buffets that we had. So everyone, thanks for listening. Hope you got a kick out of seeing this game, and we'll be posting more high-level games up as we move along and get further entrenched in this community and further enjoy this wonderful game. It's been a pleasure to meet everyone in the Game of Thrones community, and we look forward to more, especially at further events, Gen Con, maybe the championships up in Minnesota, etc. So,
etc.
This has been Steven and Robert.
Hi.
With the Two Guys, One Throne podcast. Give us a listen. We come at you about every week if we can get around to it.
That's right.
Which we do quite
The day may
commonly.
vary, but every week there is a cast.
And thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and support TeamCohen.com for all of your Game of Thrones needs.
Peace out.
We go first a lot of the time because 4 is the average. So I look to hit that a lot and stay above it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the spar, that's so great now because now most people will be at 3.
Totally.
No, it's cool. And like I said, I like Wax. I think the early Valor was something that was interesting. It was like I saw an opportunity to clear the board, and I was like, it's going.
I didn't see any of the saves, so it was a good time for it. Usually Iron Mines are out. I have some Iron Cliffs in here too, but didn't see play.
Anyway, again,
Yeah,
good
it's
game.
great.